top law enforcement official in New York State, now a defendant herself.
Letitia James facing a federal indictment out of the Eastern District of Virginia. CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us live. Scott, the exact charges are still unclear, but we've known for months now that the DOJ was looking into James for alleged mortgage fraud. As you know, other prosecutors declined to bring the charges. So when could we get more information on the exact evidence that the grand jury heard?
Hey, Jess and Christine, we expect to know the exact charge or charges against New York's Attorney General within an hour or two. It was a grand jury in Alexandria, Virginia, that handed up this indictment at some point today. That's the district where this alleged crime occurred. They're accusing Tish James repeatedly in the Trump administration of mortgage fraud for a home she helped purchase in Norfolk, Virginia years ago. She has long denied those accusations, but this investigation was well known. And though we don't know this to be a bank fraud or mortgage fraud charge, we know there's at least one criminal charge against Letitia James in Alexandria, Virginia. We know a couple other things, having spoken with the clerk of courts in Virginia and having spoken with a number of sources. We know this case, whenever it is formally filed, is going to go to Norfolk, Virginia. That's near the home in question. And we know the U.S. attorney recently appointed by President Trump, former Trump aide Lindsay Halligan, was the one who went before the grand jury today to make this argument. If that name sounds at all familiar, that's the same federal prosecutor who a few days ago secured an indictment or two from a grand jury against former FBI Director James Comey.
Yeah, and speaking of Comey, Scott, that arraignment happened this week. Talk to us about the similarities between the two cases.
This could all be very similar. First of all, they're different in one distinctive way. These cases were filed and grand jury indictments returned just a couple of weeks after President Trump put on Truth Social, his social media platform, to his attorney general that he wanted criminal cases filed against Letitia James and James Comey. That is beyond provocative. That is highly controversial. And James Comey has already said through his defense lawyer he's going to file a motion to get his case kicked, arguing this is selective, vindictive political prosecution. It is quite possible the same dynamic's going to hold true whenever Letitia James goes to a courtroom. But to be clear, she will have to go to a federal courtroom and be a federal criminal defendant at some point in the coming days in Norfolk, Virginia.
And Scott, after the president put that urging out to Pam Bondi, we did see a U.S. attorney step down. Now Halligan is in the role. Is it fair to say this indictment was almost expected?
Once the changeover was made, once the president ousted a U.S. attorney he himself appointed, a U.S. attorney who would not go forward with cases against James Comey and Letitia James, when Lindsay Halligan, who has never been a prosecutor before, was installed as the top attorney in the federal system in the Eastern District of Virginia, this seemed very possible. It's also quite possible other people who have been listed by the president are now hiring up defense attorneys. In fact, we do know, Christine and Jess, that Adam Schiff, the California senator who has been name-checked as a possible future defendant, political rival of the president, he has already hired an attorney.
Scott, before we let you go, very quickly, what's next? When will this arraignment happen and where?
You can measure it in days. I would expect it happens at the federal courthouse in Norfolk, Virginia, likely within a week or two, barring some surprise or some twist. There is the issue of there's a federal government shutdown. Some of the courts are restricting their services. That could delay things, but it is inevitable.
Scott MacFarlane, thank you.
And stay with CBS News New York for the very latest on the indictment of Attorney General Letitia James. We will be posting the full indictment on our website, cbsnewyork.com.